So looking on sentient beings with a compassionate eye. And although we're thinking of multitudes of sentient beings, also think of individuals, because sometimes when we just think of a group, we miss the point. So really thinking of all these individual sentient beings whose minds are filled with all sorts of wrong ideas that lead them to create the cause of misery when they think they're creating the cause of happiness. This is because they don't realize that their actions have an ethical dimension and that the results of their actions may not come immediately. So through not understanding how cause and effect works, then, we ordinary sentient beings get ourselves in a lot of messes. So with the wish to free ourselves from our own ignorance and to help others be free of their ignorance around what is happiness, what is misery, and what are the causes of those two, let's generate the strong aspiration to gain the wisdom that understands not only the ultimate nature of things, but also how they function conventionally. And then to combine that wisdom with a compassionate heart to work for the benefit of all beings. Okay, so there's some questions here. I'm struggling with the word demonic, not a term we usually use. Depends what your religious background is, So what could we use to replace it? So yes, afflicted, non-virtuous, negative. Yeah, if you don't like the word demonic, then substitute another word that is, gets across the point that it's something that's not advantageous to us or to others. Okay, so with the climate change and related issues increasing every year, how does the Abbey seek to evolve its teachings to also spread the message of saving the environment around us as a priority, in addition to all the wonderful thoughts and teachings shared? Okay, so there are crises all over the world. The climate crisis isn't just one of them. Okay, so the climate crisis is a very important one, but there's the crises of war, the crises of oppression, the crises of, starvation. So there's many things going on in the world. I think with all of them, we can say, what is one of the factors, because these situations have many, many factors. What are the, some of the common factors in them? And it becomes very apparent that our human greed is a very big factor in all of these crises. And that greed is coming from the view of I am the most important one in the universe. Remember our rules of the universe? First one, I am the most important one. What I want, I should get. I am entitled to it. Yeah. And with those kind of views, with everybody having those kind of views, than just going ahead and working for their own self-interest. So we're a nice group of Buddhists, aren't we? We're like really nice people. We care about everybody. We don't hold any anger or grudges, and we're certainly not greedy. How many of you drove here? How many of you could have taken public transportation instead of driven here? Yeah, if you make an effort at it. Yeah. Why did we drive? It's easier for us, isn't it? It's nicer. How many of you store up all the errands that you have to run and do them on one day a week and never go out in the middle of the week to get something that you forgot or something that you desired or to, get a latte or a whatever? How many of you do that? Okay, so that means a lot of people are using petrol, are using gasoline very frivolously. Yeah, because we could conserve on our pollution, our carbon imprint, by not driving around every time, going out and getting something every time we want it, but by just doing everything at one time and planning a route, that doesn't, that conserves resources. But it's more convenient. And when we want something, we want to get it. When you have that craving at 10 o'clock at night for chocolate ice cream, you want to get it. And when you have a craving for your latte, you want to get it. And you don't want to, wait until that one day in the week that you go out to do errands because you want it now. Yeah? And you don't want to get it on the day you run errands because by the time you want it, it'll be cold. Okay. How many of us have things we don't need in our house? Things that we don't use in our house. Okay. How many of us collect those things and give them to Goodwill or to Salvation Army or whatever? Oh, if you give them to those charities, why do you still have so much in your house that you don't use, that you don't need? You give it away and it reappears in your house? Well, yes, it reappears in your house in the form of new things that are new and better. Because we want new and better, don't we? Yeah. And especially when it comes to tech equipment. Yeah. We want the latest phone. We want the latest computer. We want this. We want that. Yeah. But, we're kind people who are not greedy, who care about climate change and our carbon imprint, aren't we? Strange. Who are all those people who waste the world's resources? Yeah. Who are all the people who drive when they don't need to drive? Who buy things that they don't need? Okay, so, this question is relating to the Abbey and how we, want to talk about climate change. I think when we talk about attachment being one of our chief afflictions, Yeah, if we think about what attachment means, yeah, then we'll see how we contribute to climate change. Yeah. So I think our role here is to point those, what is it, uncomfortable truths out. Inconvenient. Well, they're also uncomfortable. Yeah. Okay. To point those things out to people. And we know it's hard. Okay. We have a policy here at the Abbey that, you try and make your doctors and dentist appointments, people on the same day so they can go together, and to look in advance if you have a building project or something about what you're going to need so that it's purchased when somebody runs all the errands and we don't go out and make a special trip. But let me tell you, we have that policy and it is very difficult because it's always, but well, I need this. And, it's like I need a special kind of nails. I need a special kind of whatever. And I've got to get it right now. Yeah. And so even us, we talk about this. And yet, the way the mind works, to think ahead and plan ahead, yeah, we don't consider that as a kindness to other sentient beings. But it is when we do that, when we really try and conserve resources. Okay, not to mention recycle, reuse. How many of you put plastic bags in your garbage cans as a liner? Okay, what happens to those plastic bags once a week when you empty the garbage? Yeah. Well, maybe you empty the garbage out and leave the container there with the same plastic bag. Maybe. But it's so much easier because the garbage makes it dirty and, even if it's just tissue or it's paper, So it's much easier to tie it up in a plastic bag and throw the bag with it too. Yeah. And when we have our bags full of garbage, do we really stuff the garbage in, or do we have just a few pieces here and there and never mind how many plastic bags we use? Okay, so, these are things that we can personally be involved with. And I think especially the consuming aspect of it, the mind that wants what everybody else has. Now, somebody's going to raise their hand and say, yes, but, okay, yes, but these days you need a smartphone. You cannot function in society without a smartphone because everything's done with your phone. Right? How many of you are going to say that? When you came here and we asked you to turn your phone in, for the weekend, like people go, but it's part of my hand. You're asking me to cut my hand off. I can't do that. Yeah. It's attached to my hand. Yeah. And, if I don't have my phone, I won't be able to do anything. I will be miserable. Okay, do I look like a miserable person? Yeah, I do not have a phone. Can you believe that? And you know what? I don't want one. Amazing. And I'm not writhing in anger because of it, writhing in pain because of it. Yeah. Of course, as soon as you get one phone, then they come out with a new model. So you need the new model. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it needs this, it has this new feature that you won't use at all, but at least you have it in case you might use it, or you use it and it makes your life even more crazy because you have no time to be quiet and to be alone with yourself and to think about things. But you got to have that. Okay, so I hope I answered that question. Okay. Okay. Another question. I don't understand the question. What makes that thing mine? I paid for it, so it's mine, and I decide what to do with it. I can be generous as well, giving material things in service. About people, I fully understand they're not my property. Are you sure? Yeah. When you say my spouse, my partner, don't you have some claim on them? Doesn't your mind think you have some claim on them? No, not at all. Okay, so that means that they can walk out today without saying goodbye. Oh, yeah, that's great. Maybe you wish for them to do that. That's why you're nodding. Yeah. Maybe somebody else can flirt with him. They cannot go off and have an affair with somebody else because they're not your property. Yeah. Okay, they're not our property in the same way that maybe a book is our property. But that word mine makes a big difference, doesn't it? When you introduce somebody, you don't just say, this is Sam, this is Susan. This is my husband, Sam. This is my wife, Susan. Okay, you let other people know the relationship. Okay, that they're not just anybody. Now, you don't possess them, yeah, although maybe they what is it, tattooed your name on their arm, and then people can look and it's, oh, so you belong to that one. And well, I used to, but Okay. So how wisely and simply can you explain this? Okay. So, yes, in a conventional way regarding material things, we say, I paid for it, it's mine. Yeah, what does the person say? I paid for it, so it's mine, and I decide what to do with it. Okay, but that's not, first of all, it's not really true with people, okay, unless you were a slave owner. Okay, or unless you exploit, you traffic people. But with possessions, I mean, we use the word mine. I might say, well, this is my bedroom. Okay, but it doesn't mean that I own that bedroom. First of all, I didn't pay for it. All of you paid for it. Okay. Second of all, we have a policy here at the Abbey. Every year we change rooms. So what is your room, your bedroom this year, is somebody else's bedroom next year and was somebody else's bedroom the year before. And none of this did you pay for. okay? Because we exist on the basis of our economy of generosity, and we depend on people's generosity. So you don't, you know, we use a lot of things we didn't pay for, but we didn't steal them, okay? I hope not, anyway. We have a lot of precepts about that. Yeah. There's a lot of different precepts we have. I mean, there's the big one about stealing, but there's also a lot of precepts about how we procure our livelihood, you know, and hinting is, not one of them. So there's many kinds of things like this: hinting, flattering people, giving a small present to get a big one in return. These are all considered wrong ways of livelihood for monastics. So they relate to the killing precept, to the stealing precept, even though, in a court of law, they wouldn't be stealing. Yeah. So, conventionally, yeah, you paid for something, it's yours. But when you look at it, what does pay for something mean? Yeah, you give people maybe a bunch of paper, and then they give you the things that you want. Or you loan them a piece of plastic for a while, they give it back to you, and you take home what it is you wanted. Okay, pay for something. Where does that idea come from? Pay for it, as if it is something, as soon as I pay for it, it is now an independent item that nobody else has any power over. Except when we look at it, everything we own was made by other people in one way or another. Even you say, well, I sewed my own clothes. Yes, but who made the fabric? Okay, so, and who made the sewing machine? And who mined the material, the metal for the sewing machine? And who transported the fabric to the store? And who gave you the money to start with? Like I was saying yesterday, we were born broke, totally broke, every one of us. Okay, we did not come out of the womb with a fistful of cash or a credit card with mom and dad's name on it so we can bill everything to them. Okay, so everything we have actually comes from other people. Why do we have this idea of now I own it and I can determine what happens to it? When it's actually, I only have it because somebody gave me money and because somebody else agreed, to take my paper and give me this article. When we look into the thing, what about it is mine? That's what I'm trying to get people to look at. What does the word mine mean, really, when we investigate? Okay, so I say, this book is mine. Well, actually, the history of this book is it was translated and published by a friend of mine, who's a monk, so other people paid for the material, other people did the publishing. He gave it to me. I gave it to the Abbey. Now I'm using it again, but it's not mine. But it was mine. So can I go, well, Abbey, I want it now. It's mine. I want it back. Okay. Can I do that? No. Okay. What made it the Abbey's? I put it somewhere in the bookshelf, in the library, and Somebody else registered it in the Abbey's books. Okay, I'm borrowing it now. I didn't check it out. We have rules about checking things. I didn't check it out because I have an in with the librarian. Yeah. And so when I ask for a book, I get that book. Right? Pronto. Okay. But it's interesting how we consider something mine. Okay. Another story. This is an airplane story. Yeah. Yeah. So I was traveling back from Knoxville, Tennessee, some years ago. And this is actually from the first time when I met Geshe Yeshe. Yeah, he was in Knoxville, I think, at that time. Anyway, I had been teaching the 7 points of thought transformation, the section on taking everything into one life's practice. And specifically, I had been talking about, being generous and creating merit as a very important part of our using our precious human life wisely. So this whole thing about, generosity while we're alive. Then there was a whole section on generosity before we die. So not waiting until we die to give things away, but to give them away now, like all the things you have in your house that you're not using, that somehow haven't made it to Goodwill or somebody else who can use it. Okay, sorry, somebody else said that. Yeah, I say all these uncomfortable things. Okay, so I had just talking about generosity during your life, generosity at the time of death. Okay, and then I was flying back to Seattle. So I had one plane from Knoxville to, I think it was somewhere in the Midwest, and another plane from there to somewhere, Colorado, Utah, someplace, and then finally to Seattle. So I had 3 flights. Okay, so it's 3 flights is a lot. Yeah, poor me. So I'm very careful, and I booked a aisle seat. Yeah, because then I can get up, I can stretch, and so on. So I come in, and I go to my seat, and somebody's sitting in it. And I said, "Oh, excuse me, I think this is my seat." I showed my boarding pass. And she said, "Yes, I know it's somebody's seat, but I was really hoping you would switch seats with me." Okay, now where did you get that idea? Because I'm flying all the way to Seattle on 3 different flights. I don't want to be scrunched in the middle seat. That's why I got this aisle seat. Yeah. Who do you think you are? Now, of course, I only thought that because I'm a nice Buddhist. Yeah. And I said, "Oh, well, I have a very long flight. I prefer to sit in it." This is after I got done talking the whole weekend about generosity in life and generosity at the time of death. Yeah. But never mind that I taught that to other people, When pinch comes to, what is it? Pinch comes to push, shove comes to push comes to shove. Okay. When push comes to shove, it's like, that's another issue here. Okay. So then I sat down. Then I felt guilty. It's like, oh, you're wearing these robes, and look what you just did. Mm. So I said, well, how about if we share it, and I'll sit in it, and then we'll switch, and you can sit in it part way. I thought that was reasonable. And she said, no, it's okay. It's your seat. Okay. So just remember, you're always generating love and compassion for all sentient beings, except the one who takes your seat on a long flight. Okay. So, we arrive at the destination. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, this is my seat. Yeah, according to this. She really agrees with me. I paid for it. Well, actually, the people who bought the ticket where I was going paid for it, but that's like me paying for it. It was for me. It wasn't for anybody else. It was my seat. Yeah. But when we landed, I jumped out of that seat really fast so I could get my luggage and be in line to get out. I did not want to sit in that seat 1 second longer because I was tired of sitting on an airplane and I wanted to stretch. So I remember as I was walking out the aisle to the front door, looking at that seat, and it's like from 1 second to the next, 1 second, it's mine and I am not giving it up. The next second, it's not mine. I don't care who sits there. The whole world can sit in that seat. And I thought, isn't that weird? How we label something mine and then we imbue so much onto it by labeling it mine. And then one small change in circumstance, I don't label it mine. And then my whole relationship changes to it. I don't care who sits in that seat anymore. Strange, isn't it? So what does it mean that something is mine if my mind can change so quickly about it? And when I label it mine, it is mine. And when I stop, you can spill spaghetti sauce all over that seat. I don't care. But before I sit in it, when it's not yet mine, but it's going to be mine, you better not have your baby throw up in that seat. Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. What does mine mean? How do we relate to the word mine? Yeah. And what are the expectations we put on something when it's mine? Okay. These are my glasses. Again, they're not really mine. They were given to me by some people in Singapore. Okay. My glasses. Does that mean, and they're reading glasses, computer glasses. Does that mean that nobody else can use them when I'm not using them? Does that mean when they're sitting out here and somebody else needs glasses to read something for about 30 seconds that they can't put it up, pick them up and use them? Yeah. Well, for some people, they may say, yes, they are mine. I don't want anybody's paws on them. Okay. Or they can be like that retreat center. If you use my glasses, please leave a deposit, leave, leave some money for it. Okay. So do other people know whether they can use my glasses or not? Yeah. Do I know if other people can use my glasses? If one person uses them, fine. if so-and-so, another person uses them, no, it's not fine. Do I write that on the glasses? For use by this one, but not that one and that one. Okay. So does everybody understand my rules of what it means that something is mine? Yeah. Okay. How many of you have kids? Okay. Now, when your kid is in, let's say, first grade, and they flunk their spelling test. Yeah, they spelled cat, K-A-T. Yeah, they got an F on their spelling test. Yeah, it's a disaster, isn't it? I mean, how is your kid going to get into a good university if they can't spell cat? Yeah, and they better, your kid they better get their spelling down now in first grade, because you get channeled, through special classes and different opportunities by how well you spell and, how well you add. And the competition is strict, even if you want to get into a special, junior high, a special middle school, a special high school. Yeah. So if your kid flunks their spelling test in first grade, it's serious business, right? Yeah. No, you don't care if your kid flunks their spelling test if they can't spell cat. Yeah. But if your neighbor's kid flunks the spelling test, do you care? Do you even know the name of your neighbor's kid? Do you care if they flunk the spelling test? No. Okay. So one child we call mine, and the other child we don't call mine. But look how differently our thoughts are regarding that, regarding those two kids. Yeah. It's quite amazing, isn't it? One, we want to get a good education and a good career and make enough money to be comfortable. The other kid, doesn't really matter, It's so interesting now what the word mine does to the way we think. It's still two children. Yeah. Well, you say, well, one kid is my kid. Yeah. What makes them your kid? Well, we share the same genes. Yeah. You share the same genes. So you have one gene here and you place your kid's gene next to it and you test and oh yes, the formation of these atoms and molecules is very similar between these two people. So that makes them mine. Okay. But in cases of adoption, that doesn't work. And yet the child is mine. And the child says, these are my parents. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's something to really think about. Yeah, what makes something mine? And how does the word mine change our whole relationship to it, to that object? Mm-hmm. I was going to say we all pay taxes. Actually, I don't pay taxes. I've been unemployed for a really long time. Yeah. Are you all going to go, oh, you mean you're one of those people who's eating up my tax money? Yeah. I don't want my tax money used for somebody else's health care. I don't want my tax money used for somebody else's food. They should go out and work themselves. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah. It's your money, which you give to the government, which the government gives to some people. But you still consider it your money. And you don't want other people to have it. They should not have that food. They should not have that health care. It's my money, and I don't want to pay for them to stay alive. On the other hand, okay, so it's interesting. We still claim it as mine, even though we gave it away. And who we gave it to also gave it away. But in our mind, it's still mine, and we don't want them to have it. Okay. Part of the tax money, goes, well, not part of the tax money. A lot of tax money goes for weapons. Yeah. Do you look at those weapons and say, they're mine? Yeah, there's a whole military, nuclear arsenal underground somewhere. Do you say those are my nuclear weapons? Yeah, they're mine. I paid for them. It's my tax money. They're mine. I want to take them home. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Or our taxes go for roads. Yeah. When you drive on the road, this is my road. Nobody else can drive on it. It's my road. Yeah. We don't think it's my road. We think it's our road. But when people repair it during the daytime when they can see what they're doing, then why are they repairing this road in the daytime when I am driving on it? Why can't they do it at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning when nobody is driving on it? It is so inconvenient. But it's not my road. But I pay taxes for it. Okay, so you own this bit of asphalt. Yeah, you own this bit of asphalt and you own one yellow line. Yeah. What does mine mean? Okay. Okay, so just, when we think of it and we think of how everything we use depends on the labor of others, we realize that actually nothing is mine. Yeah, certainly didn't originate with me. And so this is actually one of the meditations that we do to see the kindness of other living beings. Yeah, that everything we consider mine actually came to us through the efforts of others. Now you're going to say, yes, but, okay, I am an artist. I am a musician. These are my creations. Okay, my creation, or I invented this, it is mine. I have a patent for it. Yeah, I paid for the patent. So this thermos is mine. even though somebody else paid for it and bought it. I invented it. Okay. But when we look, okay, you invented something. Where did the knowledge come from to invent that item? Were you born with it? Yeah. The knowledge, whatever you invented, were you born with that knowledge? No. Other people taught us. Yeah. Even what we use day in and day out, the ability to speak and understand other people. Yeah, we weren't born with that. Other people taught us to speak. Yeah, they used to hold us up when we were little bitty things, peeing in our diapers and go goo goo gaga. You point to things, thermos, and we would go thermos. Yeah, and then they would repeat it again, until we kind of learned how to make the different sounds. So even learning to talk, it's not some inborn something I have. Other people taught me. Yeah, if I have musical ability, other people made the instruments and other people taught me how to play music. Yeah, if I have artistic ability, other people made whatever medium I'm creating my art in. Yeah. And other people taught me how to be artistic and how to use that medium. Somebody's going to say, but my voice is mine and nobody gave it. Yeah. Well, actually, like I said yesterday, our whole body belongs to our parents and to the people who grew all the food we ate. Now you're going to go, oh, come on, that's good. It's an extreme. But think about it. How much we depend on other living beings just to stay alive. Yeah. We are not independent entities with a big I that now it is mine and I control it. Yeah. We are very much interdependent entities, and we are the recipients of a tremendous amount of generosity from other living beings. When I was in Bodh one year, there were stories about, I didn't see this, but I heard about it, so I assumed other people saw it, that there had been one young baby or young toddler who wound up living with a group of, I think it was foxes, some kind of animal, I can't remember. And the child adopted all the ways of behavior from that group of animals, walking on all fours, eating the way the animals did, and so on. That's what they learned. And so we learn things too, but none of it's ours. We are dependent entities. Okay. Then there's one other thing here. I didn't read it before. Should I read it according to whoever put it here? Huh? For fun? Okay. Well, we need some fun. Okay. So it has a picture on it. Portrait of Secretary of State William H. Seward, officer of the United States government. See? Venerable children, what is far more interesting than when did Alaska become a state is how the USA acquired that piece of land. Another rub for Putin that used to belong to Russia. Mine now belongs to them, the US. Oh, uh-oh. Putin wants his empire back. That's why he went into Ukraine. Maybe he's going to invade Alaska. So there was a treaty with Russia for the purchase of Alaska. Okay, 1843, U.S. Secretary of State William Marcy and Senator William Gwin inquire as to whether the Russian colony of Alaska is for sale. Yeah, well, Trump wanted to buy Greenland, and he asked if the U.S. could buy Greenland. Although the Russians are not selling, the two expansionists from the U.S. have made their interest in the colony known. Okay, then March 3, 1867, so 24 years later, the Russian ambassador to the U.S., Edouard de Stockel, begins negotiations with the American Secretary of State, William Seward, for the sale of Alaska. Well, on March 30th, 1867, the U.S. reached an agreement to purchase Alaska from Russia from a price of $7.2 million. The treaty with Russia was negotiated and signed by Secretary of State William Seward and Russian Minister to the United States, Edouard de Stockel. Critics of the deal to purchase Alaska called it Seward's Folly or Seward's Icebox. Opposition to the purchase of Alaska subsided with the Klondike gold strike in 1896. Imagine that. We bought this useless piece of land, but now it has gold in it, and we're so glad we bought it. And then on January 3rd, 1959, Alaska is officially proclaimed the 49th U.S. state. More than 25% of the state's land is titled to the Alaskan government. So most of Alaska, 25% of Alaska is owned by the Alaska's government. And the rest is owned by the polar bears. Yeah, the penguin. Do we have penguins? No, penguins are south pole. Okay. There's a special kind of, what is it, seal? Not a seal, some other kind of something like a seal that lives up there. Okay. How much do we know about Alaska, except that it has gold, or had gold? Okay. So, any questions so far? Comments so far? Okay, so here's some more about the perfect fulfillment of the perfection of generosity by the Bodhisattvas. Okay. So the Bodhisattva's mind has nothing to which it clings with fondness. What? If I don't cling to something with fondness, how am I going to be happy? Yeah. He gives equally to all beings. Equally. But I don't want my tax money going for that person. He does not engage in such contemplations as this. One should only give to great people, and one should not give to lesser people. What do you mean you should engage in contemplations like that? That's exactly what I think and how I want my things to be used. Okay. And he doesn't think like this. One should only give to those who have left the home life, and one should not give to anyone who has not left behind the home life. Actually, that one's not too bad, You can, there's lots of monastics. We've left the home life. Why shouldn't you give to monastics who left the home life and not to give to anybody who has not left the home life? Because they can go to work and get their own stuff. Well, so comes the monastics, Yeah, we can make them go to work. Huh? Yeah. They're having a crypto company up in our county. We can all go work at the crypto mine. Yeah, yeah. And I read something about they want to open the paper mill again. But I thought this crypto company bought the paper mill. But anyway, we could go work in the paper mill. Yeah, lift those logs up, put them in the grinder. I don't know how they make it into paper, but we'll learn. Okay. And then it'll take us 5,000 years to build the Buddha Hall. Okay, one should not think, the Bodhisattva does not think, one should only give to humans and one should not give to birds or beasts. Why not? Yeah. Our kitties say you should feed us. Yeah. The deer like that we give them food in the winter. Our friends, the ravens, who have been very quiet this retreat. I wonder what happened. They've been really noisy until now, and then they got quiet. But they like the bread and things that we put out for them. Yeah. And then we had several years ago the wonderful idea, because we were having some ants come in Ananda there. So somebody had the wonderful idea of let's gather all the ants together in one place when they come in Ananda Hall, and then we can take them out together. So she put out some honey. So all the ants would come and be in one place around the honey. It was honey, wasn't it? Not sugar. Honey. Yeah. Well, yes, all the ants came. And they didn't just stay around where the honey was. And they told their friends, hey, there's free honey, come and get it. And they came and got it. Yeah, so we feed the insects. Until the one day, some water hose in the used to be a washing machine upstairs. So the hose broke, so the water was dripping. We were downstairs, and the water from the machine upstairs was dripping into the pantry area where we store the food. And so we have to empty out the pantry immediately. And then, the water's coming out through here. So we cut open the ceiling downstairs where the pantry was to look and try and follow where the water's coming. And what do we find? A whole colony of ants in the ceiling. Yeah. I think they really like that honey. Or maybe they come because they just like to munch the wood. I'm not sure. But yes, we don't see, you see, we're generous bodhisattvas. We fed the ants and they came and ate up our house. Yeah. So that was an interesting thing, getting all the ants out without, killing them. Yeah, you remember that? Cutting that open and expecting to see water pipes, and you see ants everywhere. Okay. So it's telling us how bodhisattvas don't give, with that mind that is partial, that's discriminating. Okay. In their practice of giving, bodhisattvas maintain an even-handed and equitable mind towards all beings. When they give, they do not seek to gain any reward as a result. This one's important, because we would often like something good in return. Like I was saying before, at least thank you. Yeah. If not, some praise and returning a favor and speaking good about us behind, to other people and so on. Okay, but bodhisattvas just give without expecting anything as a result. Not only not expecting anything in this life, like praise or a gift or something in return, but not even expecting a good rebirth with wealth. So karmically, they say the cause of having wealth is generosity. That doesn't mean that you're wealthy. Yeah, having wealth can be middle class, it can be, lower class too. But having anything is the result of our own generosity. Yeah, creating merit, and so bodhisattvas. Well, some people, they believe in karma. And say, well, this life I'm not so rich, but if I make a lot of offerings, next life I will be rich. Okay, so they give now with the expectation of next life having wealth. So that's still considered a dharma attitude. Yeah, that's still creating merit, even though they're looking for something for themselves. But it's for the next life. So there's not the same kind of clinging onto it that we have when we want an immediate result from it. Additionally, bodhisattvas are not constrained by a regard for the time being right. For him, there is no waiting until morning, until evening, until winter, or until summer. There is no time which is auspicious or inauspicious. At all times, they constantly engage in equitable giving, employing a mind free of regret and free of clinging fondness. They do so even to the point of sacrificing their own body. This is what is meant by perfect fulfillment of the perfection of generosity. So this is not meaning that we have to go out and give our body today, okay? You have to have attained a certain level of spiritual practice to be able to give your body. If you give it when you're not qualified, and as a result, you are cutting short this precious human life with the opportunity to practice Dharma, and then you get reborn in some other life where you don't have that opportunity, because you can't control your rebirth, then that action of giving the body wasn't so wise. It's better to live longer and practice now. Okay, but for somebody who has attained a certain level, who has some control over the process of rebirth, then they can give their whole body. We may want to give one little thing or another, depending. But here, there's no waiting until morning, until evening, until winter, until summer. Okay, so that means when you have the urge to give, you give. So, maybe it's, 2:30 in the morning and you feel like offering somebody dinner. It's not saying that, but, we're sensitive and to other people's needs and convenience. So you wouldn't offer them dinner at 2:30 unless they were awake from what do you call it? Jet lag. Okay. And bodhisattvas don't care whether it's an auspicious day or an inauspicious day. Yeah, they give. The idea being, when you want to give, don't limit yourself by thinking, it's more merit if I give on this other day, so I'm going to hang on to this object until this other auspicious day, and then I'll give. It's good to give on auspicious days, okay? But if you want to give before that, do it. Yeah, because who knows whether we'll be alive by the time that auspicious day rolls around. So while you have the chance to give, give. Then they go on to talk about in the Bodhisattva path, they talk about 10 grounds or 10 stages of the Bodhisattva path. So when bodhisattvas who have reached the 7th stage, and they gain what's called the reality concordant wisdom, cognizing the true character of all Dharma. At this point, they have a direct realization of the nature of emptiness. So those bodhisattvas who have that realization and have been meditating on it for quite a while, they adorn the Buddha lands and engage in the teachings and transformation of beings. They make offerings to the Buddhas and gain such great super knowledges that they become able to divide their one body and create innumerable bodies. Each of these bodies rains down the 7 jewels, flower blossoms, incense, banners, and canopies, while also transformationally creating a great lamp comparable to the size of Mount Sumeru. They make offerings to the Buddhas of the 10 directions as well as to the Bodhisattva Sangha. So here we're getting into, we read this kind of thing and we say, I haven't seen any evidence of that. Yeah, being able to divide your body into things and travel to Buddha lands. Anyway, how do I know there's Buddha lands? How do I know there's Buddha lands? Yeah, the same way we know there's the center of the earth. We take somebody else's word for it. Yeah, we don't have to see everything in order to know it exists. We do have to have some discriminating wisdom about what we believe that other people say. Yeah, but we don't have to say, I have to see it, everything. Yeah, otherwise we wouldn't even know we had a stomach because we can't see it. But we know we have a stomach, right? So these bodhisattvas, due to their the depth of their concentration and the depth of their wisdom, then they're able to do very unconventional things and manipulate material in ways that normal people can't. Okay, and it's interesting because every religion has some element of the founder doing supernatural things. Yeah, don't you think? Every religion. Okay. Now, I think that it's possible for people to develop those powers. Yeah. But I will say that my faith in a particular leader or religion does not depend on whether they can do supernormal things. Okay, it's nice. I'm glad they can. It's wonderful. They can create merit. They can benefit so many sentient beings. But that's not where my faith comes from. Okay, my faith comes from the doctrine being something that I can think about and investigate myself that makes sense to me when I apply logic and reasoning, and something that helps me when I try it out and practice it. Yeah. If my faith what depended only on these supernatural things, there would be no reason for me to become a Buddhist. Yeah, because let's look at it, folks. Who can beat parting the Great Sea, the Red Sea? I mean, that's pretty nifty. You can part the Great Sea, so that my people, not those evil slave owners, but my people could go through, and then they closed the Red Sea, and all the slave owners, I don't know what happened to them, but I don't care. Okay? So my faith, I mean, why change from that? You can't beat it. Yeah, can you? Okay, so I think our belief in Buddhism has to come from something else besides these paranormal things. But these bodhisattvas, okay, yeah, they're quite remarkable. Okay, they employ a marvelous voice to make praises and verses describing the virtue of the Buddhas. They pay homage to the Buddhas, make offerings to them, treat them with respect, and welcome them. Moreover, these bodhisattvas rain down all sorts of food and drink, clothing and bedding, raining them down into the countlessly many hungry ghost realms throughout the 10 directions, thereby allowing them to become full and satisfied. After they gain complete satisfaction, the bodhis, they all then bring forth the resolve to gain full awakening. So these bodhisattvas have power to all the beings who uh, didn't practice generosity real well, or who maybe misuse the goods of others, like maybe there's aid missions to different countries and you're working with a band of rebels and you steal the aid items that are designed for the civilians and you take them for your own army. This happens all the time with aid things. So you did that kind of thing anyway. So you wind up in a rebirth where you don't have enough food or drink. But these bodhisattvas, out of compassion, can make these things appear and give them, if those beings have the karma to receive them. Yeah. But when they do, when they receive them, they gain complete satisfaction. And then those beings who used to be impoverished generate the bodhicitta and aspire for full awakening, so they in turn can benefit others. Okay, so these bodhisattvas also go to the path of animals. Because bodhisattvas, when you get to this high realization, you do have power over how you manifest your physical manifestation and over physical elements. You can't do everything, but certainly a lot more than we human beings can do. So they can manifest as different beings. So here they're manifesting in the animal realm, causing them to spontaneously become good and have no intention of mutual harm, causing them to get rid of their fearfulness, and according to whatever they need, causing them each to become completely full and satisfied. After they have become full, all the animals now bring forth the resolve to attain full awakening. Wouldn't that be nice to be able to do that? Yeah. Okay, so it goes on to all these different groups of people, hellish beings, poverty-stricken people, people who have everything, who have all the pleasures in the world. Yeah, people who have very deep states of samadhi. But the point is, there's a few points here. One is that no matter where we're reborn in the cycle of rebirth, we're not free. Yeah, so freedom isn't the freedom to go out. It isn't the freedom to carry your AK-47 wherever you want to. Okay? Yeah. It isn't the freedom to, go out whatever time you want to buy something. Yeah. It isn't the freedom to, interfere in other people's lives. which, you know, nowadays, I mean, what people claim as freedom is quite amazing. Yeah. It's my freedom to impose my morality on other people. But it's not their freedom to impose their morality on me. Yeah, this is what they call equality, right? No, it's again called, you know, I'm the most important one in the universe. But, you know, as long as we are under the influence of our ignorance, which gives rise to, you know, greed and attachment and clinging and wanting revenge and laziness and resentment and all these things, then we're bound in the cycle of existence. So, you know, what we're trying to do as bodhisattva wannabes is develop the ability to help others see that there's an alternative. Yeah, that it's not just about what we see with our eyes in this life. And it's not, and our human potential isn't just the potential to make money. Yeah. And it's our human potential isn't just the potential to try and manipulate other people so that we can get what we want. Okay, that our human potential is something far greater, far more beautiful. You know, when you think of it, we have the potential, yeah, if we practice well, never to get angry again. Now imagine that for a minute. What would it be like, no matter what people did, no matter what they said to you? Yeah, you didn't get angry. You didn't fall into a rage. You didn't want revenge. You didn't go off and slam the door in front of them. You know, that you inside, you know how you feel when you're angry. It's not a pleasant feeling. Anybody here happy when they're angry? We're not happy when we're angry. We're miserable. It's a horrible feeling. So imagine what it would feel like to never get angry. And you're not getting angry is not because you're whitewashing things and you're saying pink is purple. Okay. It's not because of that. It's because there's no seed of anger in your mind. So whatever others do, you don't waste your time and energy getting mad at it. You still have to deal with situations. Yeah. So it doesn't mean you stick your head in the sand. But it means that we deal with situations without getting angry, which would be rather nice, don't you think? Yeah. So when you think, okay, that's part of our human potential to get to the state where we don't get angry at anybody. Wow, wouldn't that be nice? Or to get to the state where we are not attached, we're not dissatisfied, because attachment breeds dissatisfaction. Yeah, so we have a mind that is content with what we have. Yeah, what I have is good enough. I don't need all these other things. Wouldn't it be nice to have a mind that's satisfied? Not only with what you have, but satisfied with who you are. Because we're usually not very satisfied with ourselves. We should be better, we should do this, we should have that, we should, we're not, something's wrong with us. That you no longer have that kind of dissatisfaction with yourself. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so we have that kind of potential. The thing is that we often don't know that that potential exists. And we don't know how to create the causes to ripen that potential so it becomes a result. So that is one of the reasons why we turn to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha for spiritual guidance, because they have that knowledge. They can teach us how to eliminate our anger without suppressing or repressing it. How to eliminate our dissatisfaction, again, without tormenting ourselves or whatever. Okay, so we have great human potential. It's amazing, but we just don't see it most of the time. Or we think that our human potential is the ability, Putin thinks his human potential is the ability to, bring the Russian Empire back together again. Trump thinks his ability is to make everything part of the American empire. I don't know what his thing is. Yeah, he thinks his potential is. But, we have to look at what we think our potential is and how much we limit ourselves by having very, very narrow views of our potential.